We have the new moon at 20 degrees of Scorpio happening on November 13th at 1:27 a.m. Pacific, which is 4:27 a.m. Eastern. Check your local time to see when this lunar event is occurring for you. For the first time in 18 and a half months, we've got ourselves a new moon in Scorpio that's not an eclipse. So now we can go back to talking about the new moon in Scorpio or full moon in Scorpio in its regular format. We won't see another eclipse in this sign in the Taurus-Scorpio axis, as a matter of fact, for about another 9 years or so. Of course, with this being a Scorpio new moon, it is intense. It does have its things about it. It also has some stuff going on with Pluto in the nodes, so there is a little connection to the eclipses, but not to the level of a full-on eclipse. And even though we have a lot of transits going on during this lunar event, the vibes on the graph are very minimal. Solitude's going to be the highest energy on the graph from the 13th to the 14th. Then by the time we get to the 14th, we'll get a smidge of ambitious energy and a smidge of romantic vibes. With energy like this, especially with all of that solitude energy, and it's the highest energy on the graph, we could feel introspective. We could need a moment to ourselves. We may need some space to just be with our thoughts. And so we can figure out ways to transform in order to ensure our new path is seamless. So now that we're here at this point, think about what you'd like to incorporate in your life in terms of Scorpio energy. What kind of positive traits of this sign would you like to adopt? Where do you want to experience a metamorphosis in your life regarding scorpionic energy? New moons are about adopting the positive qualities of a sign, so that way when we get to the full moon in that exact sign, we can take our next steps forward, launch what's ready to put out into the world, understand what needs altering in that energy, and even release the things that are no longer serving us regarding this vibe. So what are you hoping to achieve by April 23rd of 2024 regarding Scorpio themes in your life? With this new start, are you at a point where you want to gain control over the things that have gotten out of hand in your life? In Scorpio, we seek to gain dominance over our lives. And I mean this in the most healthiest way possible. Obviously, we know lower vibrational versions of this can be problematic. However, when we lose control of our situations, it absolutely affects us in many ways. So this could be a time of working on swaying your situations in terms of regaining focus back in your life. It could be a time where you're working on empowerment. So this could be a time of making sure you're in the driver's seat of your life and stepping back into your personal power. And so that could be in many areas of your life. That could be your living situation. It could do with a job situation. Sometimes this could look like the relationships that we're in, both romantic, platonic, and whichever. And if it doesn't have to do with outside interference or influences, it could be all about gaining control back with yourself if you've been thrown off course in some sort of way. Another area that you might be trying to sway in your favor healthily might be about focusing on your finances. Scorpio has to do with banks. It has to do with debt. It has to do with loans and situations with other people's money in general, or a spouse's income. But this might be a period where you're looking to get back on track and regain control of your finances, especially if you've been in a situation where debt has accrued for a while. This could be a period where you're refocusing your strategies on something that's going to be effective enough for you to alter your financial situation. One of the things I said earlier about getting back on track and refocusing your energy could be about relationships. This could be a period where you're looking to not focus as much on those relationships, especially on the romantic end. And what I mean by that is in Scorpio energy, sometimes we might fixate on certain things that we really shouldn't fixate on. So this could be a time to fix the need to overly concentrate on those situations and regain control of your mind and get to a healthy place where you're not feeling as though it's turning into an obsessive habit. On the other end of this could be a time where you're letting go of turbulent relationships that are no longer serving you, that have absolutely thrown you off course from doing what you need to do in life, because you're constantly navigating those types of situations rather than having a sense of security, rather than feeling as though you have, again, control in a healthy way in these situations. Because let's face it, when you have a chaotic situation, there is no having control over it, leading to feeling off kilter and having absolutely no consistency in your life overall, which again, prevents you from connecting to your personal power. Another way this can show up is through focusing on your healing journey. Sometimes this can be energetic, so on an energetic level, this might be a period where you're working on your vibes and coming back to spiritual practices that you might not have been able to focus on. Sometimes this could look like things of the mind, so this could be a period of gaining back control when it comes down to your coping mechanisms. It could be a phase to break old patterns. and work on repression so that way you're not carrying a heavy burden around. Scorpio energy is all about shedding our skin so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. So it's a period to find ways to transform your circumstances, your situations, and yourself. That way you can regenerate on all levels and purge out what no longer aligns with your spirit so that way you can empower yourself. Let's look at these transits and see what we can expect from this lunar event. As a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps this channel grow. And if you'd like to support the work of this channel, you could do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. There's a link in the description box below. So the transits for this lunar event are mixed bag. We do have some harmonious alignments, but we also do have some complicated alignments going on. And it's Scorpio energies, so I expect nothing less than complex. At the same time, those complex alignments really help us because they give us the motivation to get things done and shift our situations. We have two chart rulers for this lunar event: Mars, the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto, its modern ruler. Anytime I look at signs that have dual rulership, I always like to consider the ancient ruler because that still plays a pivotal role when it comes down to this zodiac placement's energy. On top of that, Mars happens to be in Scorpio right now during this new moon in Scorpio, so it happens to be in its home sign, adding to its level of potency during this lunar event. Mars is going to be in complicated alignments with Venus, Saturn, and Uranus, which can enunciate issues with relationships, our finances, the areas of our life where we lack maturity and accountability, or even just being responsible for anything or anyone. The places in our life where we're in a rut and we're eager to get things moving. However, with energy like this, especially with the Uranus stuff, making quick moves right away is not advised. You have to take action when you take action, but with this energy being as erratic as it is, making sudden changes may not go in the way you want. It may backfire in some way. Impulsivity may backfire in some sort of way. So there's something that you really want to be aware of with this. This can create a lot of unexpected shifts in this energy. And we do need to be mindful of our tempers because there may be some unintended consequences as a result. On top of that, Mars and Pluto are both connected to the nodes during this lunar event. So even though we don't have eclipses here anymore, there's still some karmic undertones going on. So this might bring to our attention areas where we might have skipped steps because we lacked insight on something with the Mars stuff, especially because it's forming that quincunx to the north node. So this can show us where we need to fix our course of action in order to get to the next level. On top of that, Pluto making that square to the nodes is going to show us where we need to refocus our energy on something that we missed out on, where we need to gain healthy control back, and break old patterns that are no longer serving us. That Scorpio stellium with the moon, Mars, and the sun are making harsh alignments to Ceres, Venus, Saturn, and Uranus. So a lot of the themes that we had going on with that Mars connection to Saturn, Venus, and Uranus, it's still going to carry over in the sense of our moods might be fluctuating. We may have moments where we need some space to ourselves. This could be a time where we're having to nurture ourselves, because mood-wise, we might be experiencing erratic emotions. I will say, luckily, that Scorpio stellium is connecting to Neptune in a harmonious way, which will hopefully mitigate some of the more stingy energies that are going on. The Sun, Moon, and Mars are making a trine to Neptune, which is helpful in terms of being more hopeful about our new start, having intuitive downloads that might offer us some sort of insight on what to do next, and even taking a more compassionate approach to the way we're handling our situations. So this may bring about some sweet moments during this lunar event in the next 2 days after the lunar event itself. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of harshness with this moon. I mean, it is mixed baggy to a degree. Neptune kind of saves the day a little bit, but for the most part, try to be as mindful as possible concerning edgy situations. The signs that'll feel this lunar event more than others will be the fixed modality: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, between 20 to 29 degrees of these signs. So if you have planets or chart points in these zodiac placements, you'll feel this lunar event more than others. Anyway, I hope you all have the best new moon in Scorpio ever. Later, and see you in the next episode.